This week's episode sponsored for dailygiving.org. Great organization gives out money on your behalf, $1 a day, charity for you. It's a great service. Give it to somebody else as a present for a week, a month. Check them out, dailygiving.org, dailygiving.org. So we are in Passover season now. That's it. We're like fully Passover focused. And I always had a question about the name Passover, right? What's the name of the holiday? Pesach, or Passover. Why? Because in the 10th plague, God passed over the Jewish people. And that's why we call it Passover, right? Sounds reasonable? You've heard that? Does that make sense? On the 10th plague, God passed over the Jewish people, is why we call it Passover. Well, what did he do for the first 9 plagues? Isn't that what a plague is? It wouldn't be much of a plague if God wouldn't have passed over the Jewish people, right? What do you think God did in blood, frogs, lice, bears, like boils? He passed over the Jewish people. But on the 10th plague, we finally realized, wait a second. Wait, we're not getting, whoa, that's amazing. But I would go even further. The plagues, I thought the point of this was to get out. I thought the plagues just going round to round with Pharaoh so we can leave. This is about leaving. This is about freedom. That's what's really going on here. It's not about the plagues. So why is it called Passover for? So I want to share with you an idea. It's an idea that I've been thinking about. It's really important whenever you study Torah, in my opinion, to try to put yourself in the shoes of the people that were going through it. Don't look back at words on a page. Try to be there. And I'm trying to put myself back in that scenario to whatever extent. And we have an obligation. In the Seder, we're supposed to act as if we were there. And I had the following thought that I want to share. Maybe this is why it's called Passover. Imagine as if you and I were there for the 10th plague. Now remember something. Something happened along the way. In the 9th plague, the plague of darkness, 80% of the Jewish people died. Rashi teaches us when the Jews leave, there's a verse that says Chamushim Alu. When Rashi says, it means a fifth. Why? Because they weren't going to leave. They weren't going anywhere. They weren't interested. And for a whole bunch of reasons, they died during darkness. Now imagine if me and you were there and we saw that. What would we be thinking? Now remember, we didn't have a Torah. We didn't know what was right. We didn't know what was wrong. There's no way to judge. God sees into your hearts, but we didn't know into people's hearts. What would we be thinking? I believe we'd be thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I'm next. Maybe in the last plague, I'm going to be part of it. And so Moses comes in and says, take a lamb and slaughter it and put the blood on the doorpost. And we're doing all that. What would we be thinking? I hope it's helping. I hope I'm protected. I think when they were putting the blood on the doorpost, they were thinking, I hope we're protected. They weren't like, that was amazing. I can't believe plague 5. They weren't high stepping. They were probably thinking, I hope when this plague happens, it doesn't come into our homes. And we're doing all this for that reason. And then the plague starts. I don't know how close the Jews lived to the Egyptians, but presumably the plague begins. And in the Egyptian homes, as the firstborn die, there's screaming and yelling and wailing. And presumably, sitting in a home, there probably wasn't soundproof huts. And there were probably very dense streets. And that family was probably sitting there thinking, it's coming to us next. As the cries get louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, I would be thinking, oh my gosh, it's coming. And louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. And just when it reaches its highest pitch, I bet you that family is going, and And then softer and softer and softer and softer and softer and softer and softer. And at some point it dawns on everyone in the room, God passed over us. But not Moses and Aaron said, let's go. And I'm sort of one nobody in a millions of other Jews. The creator of the universe looked into my house and said, I want them all. They probably felt, he picked me. He picked us. He wants us. Not Jews generally, me specifically. If you can capture when the holiday begins, when the moment of freedom took place, it's at that moment. Once they leave and they move this sand dune to that sand dune, that's the manifestation. But the moment that we became a nation was when each and every individual Jew said, he picked me. That's what it means to be a Jew. That's what it means to have Pesach. Maybe that's why the holiday is called Pesach, because it's not about freedom as we know it. It's about the relationship between me and God. He chose me specifically. I didn't just get lost in my nation. That's an easy thing to understand. It is a hard thing to live with. To really believe that. To walk with that awareness throughout your life. To feel God's presence around you, embracing you, believing in you, even when things are hard. That feeling, he picked me. It's a relationship. He wants me, specifically me. I don't know why. I am not that holy. I am not perfect in the slightest. I mess up more than I do well. I don't know why, but it doesn't make it less true. God wants a relationship with me. That feeling is, I believe, what Judaism is all about. That's what it means to be free. It means to be freed from all of the mental blocks that hold us back from a deep, real relationship with our Creator. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. And God says, no, I didn't do it like everyone let's go together. I created a scenario where I want you in your homes and I want you to know that I passed over you specifically, meaning I picked you specifically. This Passover, even now, let's work on this. Let's drop the whole guilt thing. Let's strive to be better. But let's realize that the creator of the universe loves us, is looking for us, is taking care of us, and is with us no matter what. And maybe if we feel more chosen by him for us, if we feel more selected specifically for him, if we feel like he is looking at us and he wants us for us, we'll not only tap into what the Jews felt then, we'll tap into what I believe God wants us to feel every single year afterwards.